There are a lot of people that seem much more emotional than the rest of us, but they often don't know why. Are you one of these people? Find out in 18 top signs you're a highly sensitive person. Number 18. React emotionally. An HSP or highly sensitive person is someone who feels everything around them more strongly than others. They react to physical stimulation differently than most because they feel it more. This reaction also goes for emotional stimulation. A child who is highly sensitive is called an HSC. Another term for this condition is SPS, which stands for sensory processing sensitivity. However, all of the terms relate back to the same thing. One characteristic of someone who is highly sensitive is that they tend to react emotionally to almost everything. Whether the situation is good or bad, they experience emotion on higher levels than the vast majority. HSPs get their feelings hurt more easily. They become overwhelmed quickly, and they struggle while trying to control their reactions all the time, since they're often told that they're abnormal. But keep in mind that about 20% of the population is noted to have this trait. So even if people are making you feel you're different, there are plenty of others out there who also identify as HSP. Number 17. Shy. Although being highly sensitive doesn't make you an introvert, shyness is often a side effect of this personality trait. Since HSPs exhibit different behavior from the norm, people commonly treat them as if they're abnormal. In elementary school, their reactions might have garnered them negative attention because kids with oddities are regularly excluded from groups of children that don't believe they belong. This rejection from group activity causes adverse effects on people who are highly sensitive. They hold on to these memories for years, and if they had experiences like this, then they learn to keep to themselves, resulting in shyness. There are numerous events like this throughout a person's life, so it's not uncommon for HSPs to become quiet or self-conscious. Number 16. No horror films. Are you more of a comedy or drama fan regarding your film preference? Are scary movies just not your thing? If you answered yes, you might be a highly sensitive person. One factor that plays into HSPs' dislikes for horror movies is that they are very imaginative. They will picture themselves in the spooky scene they see on screen, and they'll react strongly to the brutal aspects of frightening flicks. However, this doesn't only apply to movies, it also applies to books, places, and various other situations. Many highly sensitive people will avoid creepy novels, walking places at night, or even things like amusement park rides, because they constantly are creating unfavorable scenarios in their minds. Number 15. Indecisive. Another factor to consider when deciding whether or not you're highly sensitive is your decision making. Do you have a lot of trouble when it comes to making up your mind, even in simple situations? Maybe you'll spend half an hour studying a restaurant menu before figuring out what you want to order. If you possess these characteristics, you might be an HSP. Highly sensitive people are very indecisive because they are always considering different possibilities. They think of everything before they settle. There are positive aspects to this characteristic, such as resolutions being well thought out. However, this trait can cause some problematic situations as well. Being indecisive can cause arguments with people, like picking a place to eat with your significant other, and can also result in inner turmoil. Number 14. Often tired. Due to all of the problematic decision-making and varying emotional states throughout the day, highly sensitive people end up feeling exhausted a lot of the time. This is understandable because experiencing continuously changing mental states and overthinking is enough to drain just about anybody. Since HSPs are often tired, they will take time for themselves to recuperate. Many people with this trait will go into their bedrooms, turn off the lights, and enjoy the darkness and silence. This is because the only time their minds can be at rest is if they're by themselves with no outside stimulation interfering. Number 13. People make comments. Highly sensitive people will often have to endure this from a young age. Have people been commenting on your emotional state since you were a kid? Maybe people make fun of you for being a scaredy cat or a crybaby and tell you all the time that you're too sensitive. If you've dealt with stuff like this throughout your life, there's a good chance that you're an HSP. However, even though a lot of the attention highly sensitive people receive is unfavorable, many positives balance it out. Their friends and family always have someone they can confide in. People often refer to them as good listeners, trustworthy, and reliable. Number 12. Artistic and creative. Highly sensitive people also often exhibit the characteristics of artistry and creativity. We already talked about how people with this trait are continually thinking about various scenarios and placing themselves in different situations in their minds. Spending so much time contemplating things often results in being artistic. Their imaginations run wild, so coming up with out-of-the-box ideas is common in highly sensitive people. If you consider yourself gifted in these areas, then there's a chance that you are an HSP. Plus, people with this personality sometimes find it hard to verbally express themselves, as overthinking the thoughts and opinions of others prevent them from doing so. Therefore, art is a wonderful outlet for their feelings and emotions. Number 11. Crybaby. Do you find yourself getting teary-eyed over almost every situation and with nearly all emotions? Do you cry when you're happy, sad, and angry? If you said yes, then you're probably a highly sensitive person. People with this characteristic cry about almost everything. There's nothing wrong with this, and they can't control it, but as we said before, others often make fun of HSPs for what they consider to be overreactions. Number 10. Open-minded. Since how others feel means so much to highly sensitive people, they are often more open-minded about things regarding their friends, family, and even strangers, whereas many folks are quick to judge. HSPs almost always maintain unbiased thoughts and are willing to accept the quirks of those around them. If you are a genuinely caring and impartial person, there's a chance that you are highly sensitive. Number 9. Have pets. Highly sensitive people experience judgment from others on almost a daily basis because they stick out from the crowd. We previously discussed that they develop shyness or social awkwardness since they're not always accepted for who they are. Due to this fact, HSPs will commonly find more comfort in pets than they do in other people. Dogs don't judge, they're just happy to see you. Cats simply want to be fed and are content curling up with you on the couch. Fish are fine with swimming around and looking pretty. You can understand why HSPs would sometimes rather associate with animals than people. And if you experience this feeling too, then you might be one of them. Number 8. Physical reaction to conflict. It goes hand in hand with other characteristics that highly sensitive people don't handle conflict well. Being involved in a confrontation or being around one causes HSPs to become nervous or panic. Their senses go haywire because of the emotional and physical aspects of clashing with other people. They have acute hearing and touch as well as more severe mental responses. So, if a conflict arises, they will often experience a visible reaction. Their hands will shake, they'll start sweating, and they might become dizzy or even faint. If you're prone to doing any of these things during a dispute, you are probably an HSP. Number 7. Detail-oriented. Are you always paying attention to the details of everything? Maybe you notice all of the elements of a person's appearance or the fine lines in a piece of artwork. If you do, then you might be an HSP. People with this trait pay a lot of attention to subtle details of their surroundings. They're quick to notice changes within the environment and people. They'll even see a change in someone else's emotions and can almost feel changes in other people's auras. This also applies to their work. They're perfectionists when it comes to their professional lives. HSPs consider all criticism and pay close attention to deadlines. If you're someone who makes sure your work is always done on time and to the best of your abilities, you could very well be a highly sensitive person. Number 6. Exercise alone. This goes back to how highly sensitive people often feel excluded from groups because they don't fit the mold. They are overly concerned about people's opinions of them. As a result of this, they prefer to exercise by themselves. They don't want to feel judged about their postures, capabilities, or shortcomings in the gym, so they'd rather be solo. HSPs also prefer sports that aren't team-based, such as running, cycling, or swimming. Participating in games like these allow them to stay emotionally comfortable and still compete. However, their acute awareness of their surroundings makes highly sensitive people good at team sports as well. If they overcome their social discomfort, or were lucky enough not to deal with the negativity many HSPs receive, then they might enjoy having teammates. Number 5. Anxiety. Unfortunately, being so attuned to their surroundings often comes with unfavorable side effects for highly sensitive people. Do you often feel panicked or scared about doing certain things? Do you find yourself dreading social interactions? Do you experience physical discomfort brought on by nervousness? If you said yes, then chances are you have anxiety, which is common among HSPs. Overthinking, perfectionism, social awkwardness, and shyness are all things that cause stress. Plus, people who are highly sensitive often have anxiety disorders. Most people experience nervousness before a big presentation at school or work, a procedure, or other irregular life occurrences. However, HSPs might feel this way all the time. Number 4. Depression. Another unfortunate but common side effect of being highly sensitive is depression. Most people take things in stride. If someone has an unfavorable opinion of them, they upset a friend, or anything gets them down, then they are sad for a while but overcome it quickly. HSPs, especially those with depression, are unable to conquer the unhappiness they feel after a disturbing event. Not only do they feel the sadness more strongly than most, but they also experience tiredness and anxiety simultaneously, making it even more difficult to move on. They'll eventually move past whatever is bothering them, but will have a difficult time doing so. Number 3. Considerate of others. A positive aspect of being a highly sensitive person is that you're very considerate of other people. You'll do anything you can to make sure you don't hurt other people's feelings or cause turmoil. Plus, HSPs genuinely care about others. They not only want to avoid conflict, but they also want to ensure that those around them are happy and enjoying themselves. So, they watch what they say, how they act, and are extremely aware of how their actions are affecting everyone else. Because of this, highly sensitive people are generally good-mannered. When they stand up from their chair at a dinner table, they will make sure to push it in. They'll put items back in their rightful place at a grocery store so that the employees won't have to. They will open doors for people and clean up after themselves. The list goes on and on. If you exhibit these behaviors and are concerned about other people's feelings, then there's a good chance you're an HSP. Number 2, work well in teams. We mentioned previously that many highly sensitive people don't necessarily like working in groups. However, that doesn't mean they're bad at it. They might be shy or uneasy about accomplishing tasks in a team, but considering the other characteristics HSPs exhibit, it isn't surprising that they also work well with others. First off, their close attention to detail helps when people are attempting to complete a project as a group. While the rest of the group is focusing on the big picture, HSPs can be of tremendous assistance regarding the specifics. Another thing that makes them a great addition concerning teamwork is their consideration. Since they pay so much attention to how people around them are feeling, HSPs don't ignore anybody's opinions. As a result, nobody feels excluded and everyone knows they've been heard. Even though they can get used to working in a group, it doesn't mean they enjoy being the leader. They'll often want to work with others, but are uncomfortable being the person in charge. This relates back to an HSP's indecisiveness and anxiety. Number 1, intuitive. Have you ever known something terrible was going to happen before anyone else? Do you get feelings about people's intentions before they go through with them? Another trait of a highly sensitive person is intuition. HSPs are often aware of things that are going to happen, kind of like a psychic without the crystal ball. It might seem impossible, but people have reported anticipating things like this numerous times. If you think about the acute senses and awareness of HSPs, it isn't too surprising that they would pick up on subtle hints before something takes place. While everyone else is busy feeling the calm before the storm, HSPs can feel the storm before it even blows in. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.